We're all Superman fans here, but after more than 80 years in the business, it seems like he's given us just as many reasons to love him as he has to make fun of him. It took a lot of digging, but we found the Man of Steel's lowest points in his career so far. So hey, I'm Nervous Nick for Screw Attack's Top 10 Stupidest Superman Moments.
Number 10.
We can all agree that Superman 4 is the worst Superman movie ever, right? Right? Good, then there's no problem putting it on the list. Picking the single dumbest moment from the quest for peace is like trying to pick your favorite deadly disease. You don't like any of them, but we've got a choice to make here. That choice being the birth of Nuclear Man. This is literally what happens. Lex Luthor steals a strand of super hair from the museum, sticks it on a super missile, Superman throws the missile into the sun, and the sun spits out a baby that just becomes Nuclear Man. Why does he hate Superman? Why does he have the powers he does? God only knows, but it's as random and idiotic as the way Mr. Super Perm himself came into existence.
Number 9.
I do apologize because I'm about to piss off a lot of fans of the recent DC movies, but Man of Steel's tornado scene has so many moments that make me say, why? Why? Why doesn't Clark stop pretending to be an average Joe when everyone is in obvious mortal danger? Why doesn't Jonathan Kent let the invincible alien man go fight the tornado instead of heading back into it himself? Why was all of this to save a freaking dog? And why does Jonathan Kent sacrifice his life to keep Clark from revealing who he really is? That sounds like the opposite of what a loving dad would teach. But most importantly, in stories where Superman's dad dies, it's usually from like a heart attack or something else that he does not know how to stop. When you try to take him out with something as big and loud as a tornado, it's obvious how he could have saved the day. Even to Man of Steel Superman, that should have been a no-brainer.
Number 8.
There are a select few games worthy enough to be considered the worst of all time forever. Superman 64? That's definitely one of them. This game has been the butt of internet jokes for years now, but I always forget that Superman 64 came out in 1999. Think about all the games that came out before this turd that look a billion times better. Super Smash Brothers, Banjo-Kazooie, Pokemon Snap, Mario Party. The freaking Gex trilogy has better graphics than this. And you know, the only one more clueless than Lex Luthor thinking that this is anything resembling a maze is Titus Interactive for ever putting this garbage out.
Number 7.
Everyone knows that Superman constantly does the impossible. Shooting laser beams, flying through the air, firing tiny Supermans out of his hands. Okay, I'm willing to accept all of that because who am I to tell Superman what his super body can or cannot do? But I understand enough about how our planet works to know that time is not gonna reverse if you spin it the other way. That's not how this works.
That's not how any of this works.
Look, we love the original Superman movies for what they are, but having a power like this sort of breaks his whole world. How am I supposed to take any problem he faces seriously ever again when he can just do the equivalent of Control-Z whenever he wants?
Number 6.
Every TV show needs to make money if it wants to stay around. That's the reality. But by season 7 of Smallville, that meant an episode all about how Stride Gum gives you superpowers. It opens up with a concert in a place that everybody knows is great for music. A gum factory!
I'm off the Stride Factory.
Oh, I'm sorry. A Stride Factory. But then product placement Pete gets himself some radioactive Stride Gum and becomes, shall we say, a little more fantastic.
Stride Gum Factory? Maybe next time they won't let the flavor last quite so long.
Hey guys, did you know that this show is sponsored by Stride? Stride Gum, everyone! Stride!
Number 5.
Pretty much the only thing about Superman more famous than his powers is his greatest weakness, that green mineral kryptonite. But what about red kryptonite? Anytime Supes gets too close to this stuff, something idiotic happens. It's turned Superman huge. It's made him old. It's made him a baby. It's made him a big baby. Superman's turned into a dragon, had his head morphed into an ant, and even lost his powers. Only on the left side of his body. We could have done an entire top 10 about the dumbest stuff that's happened specifically when Superman touches a red rock, but we're not even close to the worst from the Man of Tomorrow.
Number 4.
If you remember our top 10 worst Superman villains, this story might sound a little familiar, and if not, get ready for one of the most awkward comic book stories ever told. So there's this gremlin-looking pervert named Sleaze whose main claim to fame was number 4 on our list, coming this close to shooting a porno starring Superman. Sleaze brainwashed the Man of Steel into making out with Big Barda on a bed, but just before things could get too steamy, Barda's husband crashed the party and saved the day. What? Why? Why was this a story that had to be told? By the way, I hope you're not too disgusted by that one because I'm just gonna say sexy times are ahead for pretty much the rest of this top 10.
Number 3.
My 9th grade biology teacher once taught us that every single thing in nature is motivated by 2 things: food and sex. If this next moment teaches us anything, it's that Superman is, he's part of nature, all right? Look, Soups, I know it's got to be frustrating to know that there are very few out there who could even survive you doing the nasty. And no, I don't just mean that Wonder Woman is one of the only women who can physically withstand it. I'm talking about that time he and Diana did do each other for 9 straight pages and it triggered natural disasters the world over. Superman can kill you with his fists, he can kill you with his laser eyes, and he can even kill you with his sex. God, just think about that from the perspective of everybody who's not being killed. How awkward would it be to, feel the planet, like, rhythmically shaking as they, you know what, I'm not giving this another thought. Next number, please.
Number 2.
They say that Superman will always make the right choice. But I'm not so sure that he did when he adopted his own biggest fan and intentionally treated him like crap. I just love the cover on this issue. Jimmy, this gift you got me for Father's Day makes me sorry I ever adopted you as my son. God dang, Clark Kent, that is the coldest thing you've ever said. You see, Superman thought that his weird computer thing was predicting that he would kill his own kid, but instead of talking about it up front and honestly, he actively makes Jimmy's life a living hell in the hopes that he'll give up wanting to be his son. It's like the father-son equivalent of someone who's in a relationship they don't want to be in, but instead of manning up and cutting off the ties, they just treat the other person like garbage in the hopes that they'll end it first. Except in this case, it's Superman. What can Jimmy actually do against a god among men?
It's number 1.
In 80+ years, Superman has seen and done it all. He's had his triumphs and his downfalls. Everything from defeating Darkseid to being a comfort for people in dark places, to watching a space slug orgy while he and Batman are moved to tears. I cannot make this up. This is literally what happens. So Soups hits up Batman for a little heart-to-heart, which attracts these disgusting tubes of flesh because they feed off of powerful emotions or something. But then the tentacles just start inserting themselves into each other, disintegrate on the spot, and then the greatest heroes of all time cry and bro hug it out. You know what this reminds me of? It's as if DC invented the weird side of the internet before there ever even was an internet. And just like those dark corners, I encountered this on accident. I don't want to see it ever again. And in this exact moment, I want to vomit. Ugh. For our secret number 11, you remember that time an alien tree landed on Earth, made Superman fall in love with it, and then turned him into a tree? No! Lucky you! Because as stupid as that story was, the good news was that it was all a dream. A dream that the frigging tree had. Yeah, nice going, writers. You just made this stupid story an even bigger waste of time.